Reading from the Diversity Matters box, Fitness and Disability. Physical fitness and athletic achievement are not limited to the able-bodied. People with disabilities can also attain high levels of fitness and performance. Elite athletes compete in the Paralympics, the premier event for athletes with disabilities that is held the same year and city as the Olympics. The performance of these skilled athletes makes it clear that people with disabilities can be active, healthy, and extraordinarily fit. Just like able-bodied athletes, athletes with disabilities strive for excellence and can serve as role models. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 54 million Americans have some type of chronic disability. Some disabilities are the result of injury, such as spinal cord injuries sustained in car crashes or war. Other disabilities result from illness, such as the blindness that sometimes occurs as a complication of diabetes or the joint stiffness that accompanies arthritis. And some disabilities are present at birth, as in the case of congenital limb deformities or cerebral palsy. Exercise and physical activity are as important for people with disabilities as for able-bodied individuals, if not more important. Being active helps prevent secondary conditions that may result from prolonged inactivity, such as circulatory or muscular problems. Currently, about 19% of people with disabilities engage in regular, moderate intensity activity. People with disabilities don't have to be elite athletes to participate in sports and lead to active life. Some health clubs, fitness centers, city recreation centers, and universities offer activities and events geared for people of all ages and types of disabilities. They may have modified aerobics classes, special weight training machines, classes for mild exercise in warm water, and other activities adapted for people with disabilities. Popular sports and recreational activities include adapted horseback riding, golf, swimming, and skiing. Competitive sports are also available. For example, there are wheelchair versions of billiards, tennis, weightlifting, hockey, and basketball, as well as sports for people with hearing, visual, or mental impairments. For those who prefer to get their exercise at home, special videos are geared to individuals who use wheelchairs or who have arthritis, hearing impairments, metabolic diseases, or many other disabilities. In January of 2013, the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights issued guidelines for providing equal opportunities for sports and exercise to students with disabilities. Schools and universities must make reasonable modifications to ensure that students with disabilities have equal access to sports and physical education. If you have a disability and want to be more active, check with your physician about what's appropriate for you. Call your local community center, university, YMCA or YWCA, hospital, independent living center, or fitness center to locate facilities. Look for a facility with experienced personnel and appropriate adaptive equipment. For specialized videos, check with hospitals and health associations that address specific disabilities, such as the Arthritis Foundation. Fitness tip. At the gym, it can be intimidating to find yourself surrounded by people who seem to be in better shape than you are. But remember, they got in shape by focusing on themselves, not by worrying about what other people thought about them. You can avoid feeling intimidated by doing the same thing. Focus on you and let others worry about themselves. Designing your own exercise program. Physical training works best when you have a plan. A plan helps you make gradual but steady progress toward your goals. First, determine that exercise is safe for you, then assess how fit you are. Decide what your goals are and choose the right activities to help you get there. Getting medical clearance. People of any age who are not at high risk for serious health problems can safely exercise at a moderate intensity, 60% or less of maximum heart rate, without a prior medical evaluation. Likewise, if you are male and under 40 or female and under 50 and in good health, exercise is probably safe for you. If you do not fit into these groups or if you have health problems, especially high blood pressure, heart disease, muscle or joint problems, or obesity, see your physician before starting a vigorous exercise program. The Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology has developed the Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, PAR-Q, to help evaluate exercise safely. It is included in Lab 2.1. Completing it should alert you to any potential problems you may have. If a physician isn't sure whether exercise is safe for you, she or he may recommend an exercise stress test or a graded exercise test to see whether you show symptoms of heart disease during exercise. For most people, however, it's far safer to exercise than to remain sedentary. For more information, see the box Exercise and Cardiac Risk. Reading from the In Focus box, Exercise and Cardiac Risk. Participating in exercise and sports is usually a wonderful experience that improves wellness in both the short and long term. In rare instances, however, vigorous exertion is associated with sudden death. It may seem difficult to understand that although regular exercise protects people from heart disease, it also increases the risk of sudden death. Congenital heart defects, heart abnormalities present at birth, are the most common cause of exercise-related sudden death in people under 35. In nearly all other cases, coronary artery disease is responsible. In this condition, fat and other substances build up in the arteries that supply blood to the heart. Death can result if an artery becomes blocked or if the heart's rhythm and pumping action are disrupted. Exercise, particularly intense exercise, may trigger a heart attack in someone with underlying heart disease. A study of jogging deaths in Rhode Island found that there was one death per 396,000 hours of jogging, or about one death per 7,620 joggers per year, an extremely low risk for each individual jogger. Another study of men involved in a variety of physical activities found one death per 1.51 million hours of exercise. This 12-year study of more than 21,000 men found that those who didn't exercise vigorously were 74 times more likely to die suddenly from cardiac arrest during or shortly after exercise. It is also important to note that people are much safer exercising than engaging in many other common activities, including driving a car. Although quite small, the risk does exist and may lead some people to wonder why exercise is considered such an important part of a wellness lifestyle. Exercise causes many positive changes in the body, in healthy people as well as those with heart disease, that more than make up for the slightly increased short-term risk of sudden death. Training slows or reverses the fatty buildup in arteries, helps protect people from deadly heart rhythm abnormalities, and enhances blood sugar regulation. People who exercise regularly have an overall risk of sudden death only about 2/3 that of non-exercisers. Active people who stop exercising can expect their heart attack risk to increase by 300%. Obviously, someone with underlying coronary artery disease is at greater risk than someone who is free from the condition. In many cases, heart disease goes undiagnosed. The riskiest scenario may involve the middle-aged or older individual who suddenly begins participating in a vigorous sport or activity after being sedentary for a long time. This finding provides strong evidence for the recommendation that people increase their level of physical activity gradually and engage in regular rather than sporadic activity. Fortunately, the risk of heart-related sudden death in middle-aged and older adults is least in people who exercise approximately 150 minutes per week, the activity level recommended by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Assessing yourself. The first step in creating a successful fitness program is to assess your current level of physical activity and fitness for each of the 5 health-related fitness components. The results of the assessment tests will help you set specific fitness goals and plan your fitness program. Lab 2.3 gives you the opportunity to assess your current overall level of activity and determine if it is appropriate. Assessment tests in Chapter 3 through 6 will help you evaluate your cardiorespiratory endurance, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. Setting goals. The ultimate general goal of every health-related fitness program is the same: wellness that lasts a lifetime. That lifelong goal might include the specific goals of walking 30 to 60 minutes every day or doing a few calisthenic exercises every morning. Whatever your specific goals, they must be important enough to you to keep you motivated. Most sports psychologists believe that setting and achieving goals is the most effective way to stay motivated about exercise. After you complete the assessment tests in chapters 3 through 6, you will be able to set goals directly related to each fitness component, such as working toward a 3-mile jog or doing 20 push-ups. First, though, think carefully about your overall goals and be clear about why you are starting a program. Choosing activities for a balanced program. An ideal fitness program combines a physically active lifestyle with systematic exercise to develop and maintain physical fitness. This overall program is shown in the physical activity pyramid in Figure 2.3. If you are currently sedentary, your goal should be to focus on activities at the bottom of the pyramid and gradually increase the amount of moderate intensity physical activity in your daily life. Appropriate activities include walking briskly, climbing stairs, doing yard work, and washing your car. You don't have to exercise vigorously, but you should experience a moderate increase in your heart and breathing rates. As described earlier, your activity time can be broken up into small blocks over the course of a day. The next 2 levels of the pyramid illustrate parts of a formal exercise program. The principles of this program are consistent with those of the American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM, the professional organization for people involved in sports medicine and exercise science. The ACSM has established guidelines for creating an exercise program that will develop physical fitness. Table 2.3. A balanced program includes activities to develop all the health-related components of fitness. Cardiorespiratory endurance is developed by continuous rhythmic movements of large muscle groups in activities such as walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, and aerobic dance, and other forms of group exercise. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, short bouts of high-intensity exercise followed by rest, also builds endurance quickly. The advantage of HIIT is that it does not take as much time as traditional endurance training. The disadvantage is that it can be painful and uncomfortable. The safety of HIIT has not been determined. Choose activities that you enjoy and are convenient. Popular choices are inline skating, skiing, dancing, cycling, and backpacking. Start and stop activities such as tennis, racquetball, and soccer can also develop cardiorespiratory endurance if your skill level is sufficient to enable periods of continuous play. Training for cardiorespiratory endurance is discussed in Chapter 3. Muscular strength and endurance can be developed through resistance training, training with weights, or performing calisthenics such as push-ups, planks, and curl-ups. Training for muscular strength and endurance is discussed in Chapter 4. Flexibility is developed by stretching the major muscle groups regularly and with proper technique. Flexibility is discussed in Chapter 5. Healthy body composition can be developed through a sensible diet and a program of regular exercise. Cardiorespiratory endurance exercise is best for reducing body fat. Resistance training builds muscle mass, which, to a small extent, helps increase metabolism. Body composition is discussed in Chapter 6. Chapter 7 contains guidelines to help you choose activities and put together a complete exercise program that will suit your goals and preferences. Refer to Figure 2.4 for a summary of health and fitness benefits of different levels of physical activity and exercise programs. What about the tip of the activity pyramid? Although sedentary activities are often unavoidable, attending class, studying, working in an office, and so on, many people choose inactivity over activity during their leisure time. Change sedentary patterns by becoming more active whenever you can. Move more and sit less.